Hello. So today I am creating artwork in order to have custom tissue paper printed for my handmade soap business. The company that I'm using to get this printed is called No Issue, and their website is noissue.co. And you may have recall, if you watched my Craftcation videos, that I got samples from No Issue while I was at Craftcation in 2019. So that was back in April. Here is the samples that they sent me. They make compostable mailers, like poly mailers, that are made out of like a corn material. So they are compostable within 6 months or 180 days. And they also make custom printed tissue paper and stickers and all kinds of like different things like that. So today I am gonna create the artwork so that I can have the tissue paper printed, and I wanted to share that process with you in case you are considering getting custom branded tissue paper or packaging materials or anything like that. Today we're gonna go through how to lay out the design, the artwork for the tissue paper. So the tissue paper that I'm going to be designing is 50 centimeters by 75 centimeters, and basically what I'm going to do is something a little similar to this, where it's going to just have kind of like the logo, and I want to put it on an angle just like this. And I'm actually going to do it, what they're offering for me to do is one color, which this is a one color design because the paper is white already, and so the one color is pink here. But for me, I'm going to do like a blue background with white logo. So what I'm going to do is unfold this and make sure that this is the right size. Here's the tissue paper. I hope you can see that. So you want to consider what you're going to be wrapping. For me, it's going to be bars of soap. So they are very small, or the box that it's going to be in is going to be small. So I want the logos to be a lot smaller because I probably would not use an entire sheet for a package design. For each package, to wrap up a bar of soap, I might only use a quarter sheet or maybe a half a sheet to line the box. I haven't decided how I'm going to use it yet. So what I want to do is I'm going to lay this out here and make sure that this is the right size, because they make two sizes. Okay, so yes, this is the size that I'm going to be using. So what I want to do is think about how this will translate, and I want a little bit more space in between, so these are really like close together, but that's because they're so big. So if the logo was smaller but kept the same spacing, it would create a lot more negative space in between. And let's see, across one sheet we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 logos across. I'm thinking I want my pattern to be about half of that. So maybe we'll do 3 inches apart. Yeah, 3 inches apart, or maybe 4 inches seems good, and then a smaller logo. So the reason why I did that is because when you create something on the computer and you're looking at the full document size, sometimes it's really hard to understand like how that will translate size-wise to an actual printed piece. So it helps to actually lay out and create a mock-up, even if it's like a rough physical mock-up. You know, maybe I would even flip this sheet over and kind of draw out and space out what I want in order to get a really good idea, and then physically measure. So for this project, I'm just going to make my logos 4 inches apart, and I'm going to make them a little bit smaller in size, and I'm going to put them on a diagonal. Now that I have kind of my game plan in my head, it's time to create my file. Here I am on the No Issue website, and I'm going here to show you where I'm getting the specifications when I'm setting up my art file, and how that you can get started with ordering your own custom tissue. I'm going to get started, and we're going here to the eco-friendly tissue. Now you have two options here. You can either use their online design tool, which I haven't explored yet, or you can design it offline. Personally, I'm a graphic designer. I have all the design software I need, so I'm going to go ahead and design it offline, and I'm going to be using Adobe Illustrator. The reason I'm using Adobe Illustrator is because they suggested to me that the file be a vector graphic file, and I have always used Adobe Illustrator for my vector graphics. So that's what I'm going to use today. So I'm clicking on Design Offline, and this is where they give you the information, specifications to get your document set up correctly, and where you would upload your design and then start to create and then place your order. So here we are going to go with the standard size tissue. It is 50 by 75 centimeters. So when I open up Adobe Illustrator, I'm going to click on custom height and width, and we're going to go ahead and change our measurement to centimeters, and we are going to go 75 by 50 centimeters. And on the website, here in the Print Perfect checklist, to get more information about the specs, it says to add a 2 centimeter bleed around all sides. So what a bleed is in terms of print design, because in digital there's no such thing. In print design, what you want to do is create if you want your design to go all the way to the edge and where it's cut off. So for instance, on this piece of paper, you can see the design goes all the way to the edge and it floats off of the edge. So when they cut it, they're basically cutting it off. And if you imagine when they cut this, there was more design outside of the cutting area. To contrast that, this is just a random sheet of paper I have here. You can see that this design does not go all the way to the edge. You can see the printing stops short of the edge. So there is no bleed on this. So in order to create the full bleed design, you have to create a file that is larger than what is going to be cut. And they will print it larger than it will be cut. And then they have like a die cutting machine that's going to cut it out. The reason why you want a little bit of play here in terms of sizing is in case the paper and the die cutting machine are not perfectly in alignment, perfectly registered, you give that machine a little bit of play so that you make sure that you don't have like a white border. So in Adobe Illustrator, you can set up your bleeds right here. I'm going to click 2 centimeters, and because this little chain link is selected, it means that it's going to go ahead and apply that all the way around. Additionally, we want to make sure we have vector art here, and the resolution, I'm not going to be using any photographs, so the 300 dpi is not applicable to me. And then I'll specify the Pantone colors, and you want to make sure that you are using the CMYK color space. The two color space options that you might be presented with are RGB and CMYK. RGB is the color space for digital artwork if you're going to be viewing it on a screen, website graphics, social media graphics, those types of graphics, you're going to be using RGB. If you are going to be printing anything, business cards, pamphlets, tissue paper, packaging, anything that's going to be printed on a printer, then you'd use the CMYK color space. Alrighty, so here under advanced options, this is where we can choose CMYK color. We want a high resolution raster in case our graphics get rastered. So that'll be 300 points per inch, which is the resolution. So now we have everything set up just the way we want it. I'm going to go ahead and click create. Now, here we have our artboard. So since we set up the bleed, you can see where the bleed line is this pink or red outline, and this actual white artboard is representing the actual physical piece of tissue paper. So we want to make sure that our design goes beyond the borders of the tissue paper all the way to the red line. So now what I need is my logo design, my artwork. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is open up my logo file. I highly recommend when you have your branding designed, or if you do it yourself, that you create lots of different versions that can be used in different applications. Another thing to keep in mind when you have your logo designed is that you want these to be vector graphics. Basically, I could scale this up as big as I wanted without getting any loss of quality. So what I'm going to do here is grab all the elements from my logo design, as well as I'm going to grab these two color swatches. I'm going to copy, and we're going back to our artboard, and I'm going to paste. So I don't need these color swatches, and honestly I don't need them on this artboard either. So I'm going to unlock the background, and since I have these highlighted, I can actually move these to the other artboard, which since it was hidden, now they're gone. Gonna go ahead and lock that back up again so I don't accidentally mess it up. I'm gonna select everything from the seashell and nothing else and group it. And as far as the ocean side, so what I'm actually gonna do is expand this into outlines. So it's not actually like a typed font, and they are actually shapes. The reason why I'm doing this is because when I send the file over to the printer, if the printer does not have the same fonts on their computer as on mine, then it would totally mess up the design because their computer couldn't load because it wouldn't have the fonts. And now we have, I'm gonna put this part also grouped separately. So now we have the Oceanside Naturals name and the seashell separately. And what I want to do is put everything on a 45-degree angle. I'm going to use the rotate tool, and by holding down the shift key, I can put it, like lock it into a 45-degree angle. So now what I know is I want each item to be 4 inches apart. So if here's the edge, the fourth heavy line is 4 inches. We're going to need it to be a lot smaller. So now I would say, let's go ahead and put the center of it vertically, also on kind of like a crosshair. If I hold down Alt, I can go ahead and copy it. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 inches apart here, and I'm gonna offset it. And now I can just keep tiling it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be here. And I want it to be lined up. So I'm just gonna continue tiling this, and then we'll see how that looks. Okay, so now I have duplicated and copied and tiled out everything. So one thing now is that we wanted a white design on a colored background. So right now this is not right. What we need is all of these logos to be white. Select all of them, and we're just going to go ahead and select white, and now they're white, but obviously you can't see it because we got white on white background. I'm going to go ahead and turn off our grid, and we're also going to turn on the background layer again. For now, what I want to do is unlock the background, get on the background layer, and what I can do is lock the logo layer and turn it off. And I had just chosen this color at random, but I think what I'm going to do is take a look and see what it will look like with the aqua swatch from my branding. This is a bit light. We might want some more contrast here. So I think that I'm happy with this the way it is right now. What I'm going to do is get this ready for print. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock this layer again, the background. So now that I have all of the logos selected, I'm going to zoom in here so that we can see what we're doing, and I'm gonna go to Object, Path, Offset Path. Okay, I like the way that looks. It gives a little bit of thickness, but you can still see the details and what's going on. It still puts enough aqua ink here. So now we're going to go ahead and do what we did again before. So we're going to subtract the logos from the design. I think I'm happy with what this looks like now, and I'm gonna go ahead and delete this layer because we don't need it anymore. I'm gonna rename this because now it's not the background versus logos, it's just the actual design. The last thing we want to do is I'm going to keep in mind what these settings are, and we're going to go ahead and find the closest Pantone color to this because they're going to choose Pantone colors. And that concludes this tutorial. I know it was kind of long, but I hope that that was helpful, and I look forward to recording part 2 of this and showing you the end result when I get the tissue paper in my hands and I can see how it turned out. Comment below and let me know what you do for your packaging design. So no matter what you make, do you have custom printed tags, sewn in tags? Do you use like hang tags for your branding? It's really exciting to be able to create something specific to your brand and unique so that when people receive their product from you, they get a really nice experience when they are opening it, and it makes them more excited and happy about their purchase when they really like the unboxing experience. It's definitely something to consider if you haven't already. So thanks for watching. If you want more design videos, graphic design, web design videos for Etsy sellers, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos that I do, and I will see you in the next video.